Quadrilateral. Quadrilateral is a closed figure with 4 sides. It has 4 vertices, 2 diagonals, and 4 angles. There are 6 types of quadrilaterals: rectangle, square, parallelogram, rhombus, trapezium, kite. Parallelogram. A quadrilateral having opposite sides parallel and congruent is known as parallelogram. Look at this figure. Seg AD and seg BC are opposite sides, and seg AD and seg BC are parallel as well as congruent. Side AB and side DC are another pair of opposite sides of this quadrilateral. They are also parallel and congruent. Hence, quadrilateral ABCD is a parallelogram. Rectangle. If each angle of a parallelogram is 90 degree, then it is a rectangle. Look at this figure. Seg AD and seg BC are the opposite sides. They are parallel as well as congruent. Seg AB and seg DC are the opposite sides. They are also parallel and congruent. Hence it is a parallelogram. But here angle A, angle B, angle C and angle D are right angles. Hence this parallelogram is called as rectangle. Therefore quadrilateral ABCD is a rectangle. Rhombus. A quadrilateral having opposite sides parallel and all sides congruent. Look at the figure. Here side AB, side BC, side CD and side AD are congruent, and you can see their opposite sides are also parallel. Hence this quadrilateral is called as rhombus. Quadrilateral ABCD is a rhombus. Square. If each angle of a rhombus is 90 degree, then it is a square. Look at this figure. Here seg AB, seg BC, seg CD and seg AD are congruent, and opposite sides are parallel. Hence it is rhombus. But here angle A, angle B, angle C and angle D are right angles. Hence this rhombus is called as square. Therefore quadrilateral ABCD is a square. Trapezium. A quadrilateral having only one pair of opposite sides parallel is known as trapezium. Look at this figure. Here seg AB and seg DC are parallel. Hence quadrilateral ABCD is a trapezium. Kite. A quadrilateral having two pairs of adjacent sides congruent. Look at this figure. Seg AB and seg BC are adjacent sides and they are congruent. Seg AD and seg CD are adjacent sides and they are congruent. So here this quadrilateral has exactly two pairs of adjacent sides congruent. Therefore, quadrilateral ABCD is a kite. Properties of quadrilaterals. Properties of a parallelogram. The opposite sides are congruent. Look at in this figure. Side AB and side DC are opposite sides, they are congruent. Side AD and side BC are opposite sides and they are congruent. Hence, opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. The opposite angles are congruent. Here in this figure, angle A and angle C are opposite angles and they are congruent. Angle D and angle B are opposite angles and they are also congruent. Adjacent angles are supplementary. In this figure, angle A and angle B is one pair of adjacent angle. You can say them they are consecutive angles and they are supplementary. It means measure of angle A plus measure of angle B is 180 degree. Angle B and angle C are another pair of adjacent angle and they will also be supplementary. Similarly, angle C and angle D are adjacent angles and they are also supplementary. And the last one is angle D and angle A are also adjacent angles and they will also be supplementary. The diagonals bisect each other. Seg AC and seg BD are the diagonals and they intersect each other at point O. Here seg OA and seg OC are congruent. Seg OB and seg OD are also congruent. It means diagonal AC and diagonal BD bisect each other. Properties of a rectangle. The opposite sides are congruent. Look at this figure. Here side AB and side DC are opposite sides and they are congruent. Side AD and side BC are another pair of opposite sides and they are also congruent. All angles are congruent. Here angle A, angle B, angle C and angle D have same measures. Hence they are congruent. Diagonals are congruent. Here diagonal AC and diagonal BD are congruent. Diagonals bisect each other. Look at in this figure, diagonal AC and diagonal BD intersect each other at O. Here seg OA and seg OC are congruent. Seg OB and seg OD are congruent. It means diagonals bisect each other. Properties of a rhombus. All sides are congruent. Look at this figure. Here side AB, side BC, side CD and side AD are congruent. The opposite angles are congruent. Here angle A and angle C are opposite angles and they are congruent. Angle B and angle D are also opposite angles and they are also congruent. The adjacent angles are supplementary. Here angle A and angle B are adjacent angles and they are supplementary. Supplementary means sum of these two angles is 180. It means measure angle A plus measure angle B equals to 180. Angle B and angle C are also adjacent angles and they will also be supplementary. Angle C and angle D are also adjacent angles and they will also be supplementary. Angle A and angle D are also adjacent angles. They will also be supplementary, means sum of their angles. It means sum of these two angles will also 180 degree. The diagonals bisect each other at 90 degree. Seg AC and seg BD are the diagonals and they meet each other at point O. Here seg OA and seg OC are congruent. Seg OB and seg OD are congruent. It means diagonals AC and BD bisect each other. Here angle AOD is 90 degree. It means diagonals bisect each other at 90 degree. Properties of square. All sides are congruent. Look at this figure. Seg AB, seg BC, seg CD and seg AD are congruent. Diagonals are congruent. Seg DB and seg AC are the diagonals and they will be congruent. Means seg AC congruent seg BD. Diagonals bisect each other. Here diagonal AC and diagonal BD intersect each other at point O. Here seg OA and seg OC are congruent. Seg OB and seg OD are congruent. It means diagonals bisect each other. Diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Here diagonal AC and diagonal BD intersect each other at O and you can see that angle AOD is 90 degree. Angle AOB is also 90 degree. Angle BOC and angle COD are also 90 degree. It means diagonals meet each other at 90 degree. Properties of a trapezium. The sum of interior angles formed by parallel lines are supplementary. Look at this figure. Here seg AB and seg DC are parallel. Seg AD is a transversal. So here angle A and angle D are the interior angles formed by parallel lines AB and DC. And here angle A and angle D are supplementary. Means measure angle A plus measure angle D equals to 180 degree. Here AB and DC are parallel and now seg BC is a transversal. So here angle B and angle C are the another pair of interior angles formed by parallel line AB and DC. So here measure angle B plus measure angle C equals to 180 degree. Properties of a kite. The bigger diagonal bisect smaller diagonal. Look at this figure. Here seg BD is a bigger diagonal and seg AC is a smaller diagonal of a quadrilateral ABCD, and they meet each other at point O. Here seg OA and seg OC are congruent. It means diagonal BD bisect diagonal AC at point O. Diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Look at in this figure, angle BOC is 90 degree. It means diagonals forms right angle at the point of intersection. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe my channel.